Let me. Hello, hello. How are you? It's a wonderful Monday, and I'm here with Heather Picken, if I'm saying that right.
Yes, you are. Hi,
Wel-
Lori.
Welcome. How are you, Heather?
I am doing great.
I need to tell you what Heather is all about here. She is the CEO of Lux Analytics and the inventor of the Vision Journal and creator of the Vision Method. I love how that is all worded, very powerful. The Vision Method is a new and revolutionary patent pending journaling method to reorganize your thoughts, expand your mind, and uplevel your business utilizing cutting edge neuroscience. She has helped her clients to generate millions in revenue by getting out of their own way and teaching them how to think. And that's what I'm all about as a clinical hypnosis practitioner, working at a subconscious level and helping people declutter their inside so they can live a life they love. So tell me more, Heather. This is amazing, so fascinating and intriguing.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for having me on here today. And, it's interesting just to give you the backstory of why this product is so important to me. I was diagnosed at a very young age with a learning disorder, dyslexia. And so I know part of today's theme is about breaking through imposter syndrome, getting out of your own way. And when I was that age, I thought, gosh, is there something wrong with me? And so that program created a mental block that stopped me from making money in my business, attracting toxic relationships. I'm in a great relationship now, but so many things in my life. And so I went on a journey of self-discovery to understand how the brain works, started getting training on understanding human behavior and neuroscience. And what's really interesting is that when we look at our brain is that the average person has about 12 to 60,000 thoughts a day. 80% are negative and 95% are repetitive. So there's this feedback loop running or, going around over and over again. And so people get, especially entrepreneurs, they're chasing after shiny objects, and it's a distraction, technique.
Squirrel.
Yeah. And they're not focused. They're all over the place. So in the process of doing that and
Wow.
over the years, I've realized, one of my superpowers is really, being persistent, being focused, conquering all of, the fears that are rattling around in my brain. And, there was something to that. And I had been journaling since I was in 4th grade. And I didn't realize that this was going to turn into something totally different. And so I started understanding that, the brain is like an algorithm. If you understand that there is a pattern and a program, you can reteach yourself on how to think. So in my deeper programs, we get into, the neuroscience of how to get out of your way, how to change that brain plasticity. It does not take years for you to get out of your own way. So with the Vision Journal, basically it helps you to think in a way of fours because the brain can only take on a finite amount of information. And so we divide up your business and life, not just your business, but your life, into what I call 4 channels. So that's part of one of my patents. And so as I started going through this and using beta testing method, people said to me, Heather, I have never been so organized in my entire life and making more money and having more confidence in their business. So it is a powerful tool that no matter where you're at in your entrepreneurial journey, being focused and disciplined and being able to measure your success is really key.
That I the first thing that comes to my mind is Bravo, because that's one of the evil guys. Evil guys is like this organization, and there's so many little tasks and things to do and accomplish, and then distractions. And I love how you target entrepreneurs because, or I would call it solopreneurs because we don't have a manager or a framework or a structure to go by. We should, and that's what we are aiming for. But this is so important. So what have they gotten out of this is that they are more productive and organized. Anything else that comes up with the process?
Absolutely. Well, in my intensive program, they get a special journal that gets more into the neuroscience. And one of the things over the years, and I've worked with all different types of entrepreneurs, those that have yet to reach 100K and those that are past the 100K. So those that are making $500,000 to 7 figures or more. And what is really interesting is that even people at higher levels of success will have that imposter syndrome. And so I take them through this process that will literally rewire the brain. It does not take a long time to do that in order for them to jump into that next level of what they want to charge. And so what neuroscience tells us is that the brain can change in milliseconds. So if you understand how to change the brain, it doesn't take a long time. And so I'm always looking for feedback, like, how do I know when my beliefs are shifting, when I am creating what I call a perceptual shift, that I am in alignment with money? And so there are specific signs that you will see that things are on their way. Now, of course, the money, cash in hand, those paying clients, but it's also your self-talk, like what you're telling yourself, what are your dominant thought patterns? So what happens when you have that brain noise that says, oh, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, and that takes up what I call the mental real estate of your mind, when you go through this process, that shrinks. You will never get rid of that negative voice. Okay. So don't try it. You'll always have it. But the question is, to what degree? And there's actually a benefit in that.
I love it because I think of, this is not it, but it's a stapler, but I'm thinking of the remote control. You can mute it. You can mute that voice, yes, even when it's going to be there playing, because it's so ingrained, right, in that reptilian brain, when we were younger and those years of formations, whether it was an outside voice or self-inflicted, whatever, because of our own perceptions, we need to decide to turn it off. And sometimes it takes forever. So this journal is the content or the prompts is with the intention to kind of reprogram that or shift that.
Yes, in my intensive course. Now, my regular journals, they have a little bit more structured, but it does give you, in the regular journal, it gives you some mindfulness prompts. So I'm a big proponent of starting your day with mindfulness because we live in a digitized world. Our brains are now what they call having digital dementia. Our brains are actually slower. So by going analog, what happens, it gives your brain a break. And it also creates, radiant thinking, create a part of the regular journals that I have. You learn how to take visual notes, and that's important because you come up with inspired ideas. The problem with doing spreadsheets and all of these online technologies is that, that's not the natural way the brain likes to engage and learn. And plus, when you're staring at the screen, it's like this, you start getting a headache if you do it for too long. So if you look at someone like a Leonardo da Vinci, he kept thousands of journals of his most brilliant ideas. And I really feel we need to get back into the basics in order for us to realign with our business and focus. So the journal is set up in a way where I call fractal, because the brain, when you think about the brain, is essentially a fractal. And a lot of times what happens is we look at our complicated business and life and we don't know how to focus. And so what I do is I basically shrink that down, get you laser focused in understanding, like, this is how the brain likes to organize information. And you're using the book holistically. So it becomes this mind map for you to organize all of your information. There is nothing out there like this online. I've done a lot of research on this, and my frustration, for planning things out, like nothing really felt integrative.
I love it, love it, love it. There's a lot here. And I was thinking like Franklin planners back in the late 80s or 90s, but not even, because maybe you have an opinion on that. But I have Kimberly say, hello, Kimberly, I'm so happy you're here. And she asked, if we don't get rid of it, what is it, Kimberly? What do we do? How do we manage it? Or what should we put center stage instead? If we don't, do you understand?
I think what she's saying is that, a lot of people teach, just be happy. I will never teach happiness. Number one.
The imposter syndrome. Maybe she's thinking. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, imposter syndrome, or fear, or negative voices. Okay. So number one, you will absolutely never get rid of negative voices. So what you need to do is to look at, so your perception creates your reality. So imagine if there's like a scale and you have highly charged negative thoughts. I'm an imposter.
The negative mind. She's saying that, get rid of the negative mind.
So if you imagine your mind as a scale, and these are the highly charged negative thoughts, well, you're never going to get rid of them. So what you need to do is you need to balance them out. You need to embrace the negative side because it's not going to go away, but you also need to put more deposits on the other side, because somewhere someone told you that you weren't good enough. So particularly women, when they were a child, they were taught that you have to be a people pleaser and a perfect princess. So it's first identifying those programs that you had when you were a child, and realize that that's part of your growth, but you don't have to be defined by those programs. So once you bring them up to your conscious mind, then you need to shift that in order to own your value. I've worked with so many entrepreneurs. So many real quick stories. Working with this entrepreneur, and she said, I've never been successful in my business. And most people would look at the marketing. I don't. I'm like, let's look at the inner stuff. Like, who are you really resenting? What's going on? Well, it turns out she had two major problems. One was her mother, and the other thing was a relationship where, she was still emotionally hooked. So we were able to dissolve those two things, balance her mind. So this is internal shift, being able to rewire her brain. Within a few weeks, she had no charge over her mom, no charge over that relationship. And she was booked with clients without a website, without flashy marketing material. And I'm not saying those things are not important, but what I'm saying is that if you don't master this, then don't expect to master money, master your business, master the challenges that you will have as you grow and scale your business.
That is phenomenal. That is fantastic. I love it. Love it. Kimberly, if you have any other questions, please post. I'm sure that answered. I think Heather did a wonderful job answering. We get rid of them, Kimberly, shifting, letting go, cutting those emotions. The difference between maybe somebody that you don't like, Heather, because there's people in our lives or somebody that I don't like. Maybe you like everybody.
Oh, I don't like everybody.
Those emotions. Maybe you and I are in front of this person, and the negativity, that energy comes from the experiences and the emotional connection, emotional bonds we have. And then maybe you see this person and it doesn't evoke the same reactions or emotions because of the connection. So I love how you said it, once you dump or discharged or something, those feelings, that is so important, and it makes a big difference. Look at this, Heather. I just love that we went on Messenger to create this communication and appointments, but I never put it in an electronic calendar. So, it's a balance, I bet, with the new ways and the old fashioned, but this is my journal. So, but I think it's so important that what we do, writing, the connection between our brains and even our souls when we're journaling. I have a journal since I was 8 years old. I need to put them in order and all that. But, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, I have also books. So I am hoping that this journal that you have is kind of like a one in all. Is it more for business than for your personal things, or it's hybrid?
No, it's so the way that I've devised it. So it is, think about it. It's a mental ledger to reorganize and prioritize your business and life. Excellent. And basically, so if you look at, I'm going to give you, this is one of my intensives, but the regular structured ones that I have right now come in blue. So these symbols, which are part of my patent pending, they represent how to divide your life into four. So remember what I said is that your brain can only store a finite amount of information. And so you choose which, what I call these are called the four channels, and how you want to prioritize your business. So, if you have a couple of different businesses or different aspects of your business, then typically I tell people to use the first three channels, and then your heart channel can be your personal, or you can have two for business and two for personal. So that's the beauty of this. It can be fingerprint specific to how you like to manage your life. So if you're a mother, you're busy, it's like, okay, how do I manage my family life? And so you want to channel for that, because you're not just your business, you're your entire life. And it's really important to understand how to prioritize everything. So this really kind of solves the problem. I find people that have, especially if you're someone that has tons of ideas, it's like, oh, how do I unpack this genius mind of mine? In each channel, I have specific, what I call journal spreads, to take your ideas and bring them to life. So being able to use those motor skills of writing things down. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because when you're writing something down, particularly in the framework of journaling, you're actually using your motor neurons and your sensory neurons, which are responsible for changing your subconscious mind. And so your brain and your business and your life lives in the book. And you just kind of walk away. It's like when you shut off the laptop, it's like, I'm done. It feels like a relief, when you're using the journal.
Wow. This is amazing. I don't want to take more of your time, Heather. This is a little bit over 15 minutes, sorry. But I appreciate this wisdom. I appreciate your work. There's the link. If you're watching this during the replay, just connect with this website and this journal. That it sounds very promising. She's put a lot of work and expertise into this. So I am looking forward to check it out myself. So thank you so much for being here. What can you tell this community as far as minding their head, you have told us already wonderful information on turning those voices off and shifting, but what can you tell us as a concluding message for your Perfectly Imperfect brand supportive community members?
I would say give yourself permission to play on a bigger scale, because when you give yourself permission, you will let go of the need of approval. So I just encourage everyone to step into a bigger potential. And that is definitely going to come with breaking through your own fears. So once you do that, as you go through each level, there will be another set of fears to conquer. So you just got to go through it and up level your mind. And when you do that, your business will follow.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Make sure you check heatherpickard.com and connect with her there. Thank you so much for your time, Heather, and your information.
Thank you, Lori. My pleasure.
Thanks, Kimberly, for watching and asking.